In my most recent video, I discussed, in part, boxer Manny Pacquiao. By the way, you'll find the link to that video in the description below. But in keeping with the boxing theme, I think that two rules of boxing are very important to a single expat's dating and romantic life in the Philippines. Number one, take your shots when you can get them. And number two, always keep your guard up. We'll talk about that today on Escape to the Philippines. Class is in session. We all have read and heard volumes about love scams in the Philippines, and yes, they occur, but that should not keep you from at least taking your shots at a romantic relationship. And that's where rule number two comes into play. We all must keep our guard up, because there can be some pretty mercenary Filipinas sprinkled out there in a field of loving, caring ones. When I first considered retiring in the Philippines, even before the start of the pandemic, I began talking online with a number of Filipinas, maybe as many as a couple dozen. I was taking my shots. That's rule number one. But most of those online conversations didn't go far. Usually some red flag would come up. Sometimes it was a plea for money. Other times it was just a lack of common interests. And other times it was something more sinister, like not being able to video chat, or only being able to video chat during a highly restricted time frame. That's a pretty good indicator that she is a money-seeking cheater who has a husband around, or you are just one of a number of men she has on the hook, and you have to wait your turn. There's a good chance she's trying to get them all to send her some money every month. The slick ones can make a pretty good living at that, I might add. In a couple of instances, however, the Filipina I was speaking with seemed to stand up to the test, at least initially. A little more than 4 years ago, I took my first trip to the Philippines and spent a week with a beautiful Filipina who I thought was ticking all the boxes. I met her family, I met her friends, and I had a wonderful vacation. I returned to my job in the U.S. with confidence that I had found a good partner. That is, until the requests for money started. Remember rule number two? Keep your guard up. As a precaution, I had befriended several of her friends on Facebook, and the information I gleaned from it was very valuable. That woman's reason for a lack of income proved totally inconsistent with what I was learning from her friends. While her best friend was begging for help with a business she was running, my girlfriend was denying that the job existed. Boom! Red flag. Thank goodness for rule number two. So without any major losses, I went back to the online dating site. So that put me back at rule number one, taking my shots again at long-distance video chatting. Several attractive ladies caught my eye. Some never made it out of the first minute of this new round. That's because they seemed disappointed that I told them up front that I never intended to return to the United States in my retirement. And frankly, I would never trust that if you take a younger Filipina back to America to live, that she wouldn't be gone with the wind in a few weeks in search of better prospects. But one woman had no problem with that whatsoever, or so she said. She and I had a wonderful life together for about 2 months. Then she slowly became increasingly distant, to the point that I just packed up most essential belongings that I had and caught the morning bus out of town while she was off doing her own thing. I can't say that I was scammed exactly, but I certainly was played. I basically had a live-in cook, housekeeper, maid, personal shopper, and guide for 14 months. All it cost me was a new washing machine, television, air conditioner, and e-bike. Man, I miss that e-bike. And maybe I also just lost a little bit of faith in humankind. You see, I learned after the breakup from a reliable source that my ex-girlfriend stated all along that I would not stick around the Philippines for more than a couple of months. That was her plan all along, to get what she could out of me for about 2 months. Or maybe I would take her back to America with me. She didn't realize how serious I really was, both about having a lasting relationship with her and about remaining in the Philippines. So the bell sounded to signal the end of round 2. Now it's time for round 3. Could this be the round that this bruised and battered romantic gets totally knocked out? This round I was rather lukewarm about the whole thing when my current ring girl came bounding through the ropes. I even told her on the day we met in person that I thought she was nice enough to see if any of my friends would be interested in getting acquainted with her. As you can tell, my guard was up, nearly impenetrable. Frankly, I put up a number of excuses why I didn't think our relationship would work, but she was a real fighter, undaunted, just like Manny Pacquiao, only in a skirt. Each excuse, each concern, she met with a solution and a reassurance. She didn't just tell me that she was a keeper, she showed me that she was a keeper. She was the one who traveled for 3 hours to cook me several days' worth of food when she was worried I wasn't eating right. And when I became ill, she made the trip again and stuck around to clean my apartment and made sure I took my medications. In short, she proved that she was all that a good Filipina can be. Guys, the good ones are out there. You just have to find them. And this one knocked me out. Have you had similar experiences about getting played by a Filipina or even scammed? Or have you gotten a story of how you met the perfect Filipina girlfriend or wife in an unexpected way? Either way, feel free to share your experiences in the comments section and we can get a discussion started. And until next time, class is dismissed.